Hey, howdy, and welcome back to another ungodly hot Midwest summer's day. So today I wanted to go over kind of a neat little thing for shooting black powder. A lot of people like to consider black powder as kind of like an old man's hobby. You know, like the boomer generation, all those guys were really into like American Revolution reenacting, you know, Civil War reenacting and stuff like that. But lately I've noticed that there's a lot more younger guys that are getting into the black powder scene, which is really cool. It's breathing new life into the hobby. I kind of dabble in it just because I like all things that are you know, firearms and things like that, and I really enjoy the history behind them. This is my black powder. This is a Remington 1858 copy made by Pieta. It's in 44, and depending on what state you're in, now don't quote me on this, but I believe it's only New Jersey that considers black powder actual firearms, but every other state in the union, as far as I know, treats black powder as an unregulated item, meaning that it falls under the same category as a pre-1898 antique, which is really cool too, because you can get black powders, you know, black powder kits, black powder revolvers, muzzle loading rifles, muzzle loading shotguns. You can get all that stuff shipped right to your door, and it makes the hobby a lot more fun and interesting too. So the basics of black powder, you obviously need your propellant. There's Pyrodex P, and then there's GoX, and then there's the Swiss match powder and things like that. You need lead balls, lead round balls, Min-A balls, stuff like that. But for the longest time, over the past few years, the hardest thing to get has been these percussion caps. So I've been lucky enough to have more of these than I know what to do with. Now granted, most of these don't really work that well anymore because they've been in a damp, wet basement most of their whole life. But there is actually a really cool gadget that is available through the same company that does the 22 long rifle reloader, and it is a tool to make your own percussion caps. Now there's a lot of kind of sort of wish-washy people on it, like, oh, I don't really think that's going to work that well, you know, I have terrible luck with it, you know, you guys shouldn't buy it and stuff like that. So I bought one, I believe it was 2 years ago, just to try out because again, some of these caps don't really work that well, and I wanted something I know was going to work. I have not had any problems with them whatsoever. Okay, so when you open up your kit, these are the exact things that you're going to get. You're going to get these bags of material in order to make the compound. I can't say what they are because we're on YouTube. I'm sure that if you open up a book about things like this, you'll understand exactly what these three packages are. This is the hardener. There are detailed instructions on how to mix this stuff right here. Pause it and read if you would like. You'll get the scooper. Pay attention that there are two different sizes on here. There's the large, the L, and then the S, the small. And most importantly, you're going to get this cool tool. So whoever designed this, props to you guys, because this is actually a brilliant design. This is not only a die for punching out the caps, but it's also the forming tool at the same time. So you can see these nice, deep, sharp serrations on here. What this is going to do is that this is going to act like a serrated knife and cut out a blank of material from a tin can, and then this concave surface here is going to form it over the anvil right there. Super smart design, you know, really, you know, thinking outside the box with that one, so kudos to them. But in order to see how easy this is, so here is just a strip of near beer can, and I haven't noticed any difference between using the painted side and the line side. This has BPA on it. Just put your material through the slot in the tool, line it up just like you're doing with laser cutting. Make sure you get the most amount of material out of a sheet. Put it on there, just rest this tool on there, and then with one firm strike, just like that, pull this out of here. You can see we've got a nice hole punched out of our material here, and there's the cap. Just like that. So it is very, very, very close to factory number 11 size. It is not quite perfect, but I mean, that's pretty good. So after you get enough of these kind of, you know, punched out and filled up, or I should say punched out and formed out, Next it comes to filling. So here's a bunch that I have in my little stash right here. And I like to do this kind of like an assembly line. So what I'll do is I'll either put them on a sheet of paper in between two pencils or two pens with the cup side facing up, and then I'll dispense out the priming powder into each one of them, you know, in a nice straight line, kind of like that. And then I'll go back and then I'll seat the powder into them. Now the instructions say that package S is the hardener and then it's activated with alcohol. When I first got this kit, the hardener in it doesn't really quite work as well as I would like, so what I end up doing is that I'll mix a few drops of acetone with whatever nail polish I can find around the house first. Please don't tell my wife. And then I'll put a few drops in with a syringe. Let it dry overnight and it's ready to fire. So you just put them on the nipples like you know, you would a standard factory cap. And I have fat fingers, so it's a little difficult for me, and especially like today, it is so hot outside, my hands are sweating. But you know, just throw them on there, it'll be all right. These won't fit into a little primer dispenser thing. I don't even have one in here anymore, but you know, the little bar that's spring loaded for the factory caps, these won't fit in there, but that's okay. And the most important thing when you're loading these on here is that you really do have to seat these on here. And so to seat, it's literally just pull the hammer back, hold it, push it forward a little bit. Pull the hammer back, push it forward. And just repeat that with all the cylinders. That makes sure that those caps aren't going to fly off during firing. So, this is ready to fire. So yeah, as you can see, they function just like standard factory number 11s, and everything is a-okay. So, really the only thing that I would recommend when you're using these is just make sure to seat them on there really well, and that's it. You know, use just like your standard number 11s and everything's a-okay. So if you're into being able to do everything on your own, or you know, you can't find these number 11s and you feel confident in your abilities to do something like this, I say go for it. You know, it's a fantastic way in order to keep these replicas and even then the originals alive, and keep them shooting for many more years to come. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Happy building.